today we're going to be talking about that you indicated you wanted to discussing continued weight loss. This weight loss that we're talking about is we're bringing together the component that we did last week, which was we discussed about the deciding why you want to lose weight, deciding how to start, and deciding how to keep your goals, as you remember. But today, what we're going to do, you and I, we're going to talk about specifically how to maintain the continued weight loss. Now, I know you got some real good ideas as we do this here at Push. What we do is you evaluate each person as you talked about, but you discuss specifically what it is that you work with each individual and how they kind of adapt their diets and their plan. But usually people hit a local wall. But tell me a little bit about what you wanted to discuss in terms of the continuous process of weight loss, because I know that was something very important to you.
Well, I think it's like with everything else. The moment you stop seeing progress, you tend to get a little discouraged. Extreme example right now with everything going on in the stock market. People want to sell because they get scared. They want to dump everything, and because they don't see any progress. And so when people don't see progress, they get scared. So a lot of times they react in fear, and it's not so much it's because they can't or they're not willing to or they don't want to. It's because usually there's the effects of fear overcome their self-motivating thoughts of what can be. You see, they kind of lose track of what they can be as opposed to what they can't be. And people forget to understand that every single millionaire, billionaire, fit person, the person that's lost 100, 200 pounds, they had to go overcome that mental block of understanding of where they weren't, but where they wanted to be. And if they knew they pursued that without ever stopping or digressing, they could get there.
Don't ever give it up is what I'm getting there. Don't ever give up. Keep on pushing, right?
Right, exactly.
So let me ask you, someone who's going through a diet, about where is the sticking point where most people you've seen or the types of individuals that you see sticking points, where do you see the sticking point and how do you guide them through the sticking point of the weight loss?
Usually the most common sticking point is the initial 8 to 12 pound water weight loss, which is kind of elusive because if you cut out any carb, you're going to lose weight because it's like removing a sponge that doesn't absorb water. So all those carbs are kind of like sponges, so to speak. So every time you eat one and you drink water, it retains that water, so it soaks it up, right? So where does that water go? It just stays inside because it's a sponge until you wring it out. Then you get rid of that water. So initially, when you clean up your you gotta cut some carbs and stuff like that. That's why the Atkins and stuff like that works so great. But a lot of times they don't give you I guess direction or help you understand all right, after this 12 pound weight loss of water weight, because it's while it is, then you got to make sure that you got to stick with it, because in the next week or two you might not see any weight loss at all. And that's where people have to stick through regardless of the pain, regardless of what they don't see on the scale, but of how they perceive themselves. It's one of those things, like sometimes the hill, you can't always see what's over the hill, but if you can get to the top of the hill, what is there for the majority of the time? Beauty, endless beauty of whatever it is, lakes, forests, trees, whatever. But you have to get to the top to actually see the bigger picture of what can be.
You and I, we discuss science a lot, and we discuss at the physiology level as to what's actually occurring with each one of your clients. One of the things that we deal with and we work with is insulin, as you know. Right. Insulin is that beast who determines where the sodium is retained or not. Once you don't have insulin because of the carbohydrates, no insulin, no sodium retention, the initial weight loss from the water. So the process comes into the wall as the physiology changes and now starts turning into the body fat. As that occurs, we got 3 or 4 days later, where maybe a week later when you're hitting that moment. There's a psychology to that process, to that once you hit that wall. How do you help them get past that? And what do we do in terms of breaking that sticking point when they hit that wall, when their physiology kind of, stops and says, we're going to get it on now. Let's get it on with physiology.
Well, I help them maybe realize it from a psychological standpoint. So I'll give them pretty much the same start of the workout from day one when we first started. And then they'll be like, well, why do I keep doing the same thing? Is it because you keep making the same mistakes or going back to the same things? So you're going to go back to the same starting point every single time until you figure out how to overcome that. So if you want to save $50, but $200 at the